What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be installing the Rago Fabrication Bed Stiffeners. Not a bad idea to do something like this when you add so much weight to your bed, especially when it's a composite material like it is on these new Tundras. So this is a pretty easy and straightforward install. I'm going to show you how to get it done. This one shouldn't take too long at all. If you have any questions at the end, put them down below, but let's get started. First thing you need to do is remove your tail light. In order to do that, it's very simple. There's only two 10mm bolts. There's one here and one there. I already took them out just to save time. And then you're going to want to pull straight back to you. Don't pull out at an angle because of the way these are installed. You want to pop straight back to you and the tail light will come off pretty easily. Now the first time you do it, it might be a little bit more stubborn. I've had them off a couple times for different projects, but don't be afraid you're going to break it. Again, just make sure you pull straight back and don't try to come out at an angle just because of the way they're fastened. Now once you do that, you're obviously going to have to reach back and just disconnect the wiring. That's pretty straightforward and easy, so disconnect the wiring and go ahead and set your taillight aside. After you do that, you're going to want to remove your back bed bolts. Now mine looks a little bit different because we have the mounts from Versatrax. The stock bolt that you're going to have to remove from right here, it would be a T55 bit is what you're going to need. Mine is a 14mm, again, just because I have this different setup from Versatrax. If you haven't seen those, check them out. I do have a video here on the channel, and we also have a discount code. He's one of our channel partners, but they are awesome. So once you have this back bolt removed, now you're going to be ready to pretty much line up the brace and mark your holes. Now, the only other thing I had to do, because we have swing cases on both sides, my swing case mount was right here. I did have to remove that for right now. I'm hoping we can reuse these because I do love my swing cases, but time will tell. I'm honestly not sure if we're going to be able to or not. So now we're going to grab our brace, line it up, and mark our holes. So what you want to do is make sure you have the driver's side, which you're going to know because there's no way it would fit on the passenger side. And what we're going to want to do is, I'm just going to pick that up. You're going to want to put this spot here, line it up with the hole that you just removed that bolt from. Get that lined up where it should be sitting. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this bolt just loosely for now to hold it in place. And then once you have that bottom part secured, we're going to come in and mark our holes in the 3 slots to drill through so we can secure it to the side of the bed. I'm going to use just a silver Sharpie, and you want to try to mark it in the middle. Now the only thing I'm noticing is because of my swing case, I already have a hole right there for my swing case. So I'm just going to stick with that hole and make it larger. These other 2 spots, I'm going to try to put it right in the middle of these oval locations, but I just happen to notice I already have that hole there. So I'm just going to stick with that so I don't, make too big of a mess there. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and mark my other 2 holes, and then we'll go ahead and drill to mount the bolts. I want to show you guys what I'm doing. So I removed this, and the hole that I had in there that I mentioned that was already there from my swing case, that was just a small hole. I drilled through that. It's a 1/2 inch bit is what I'm using. The instructions call for a 9/16, but the 1/2 inch is actually, the bolts fit through it perfect. So I'm going with the 1/2 inch. It's just slightly smaller than what the instructions call for, but again, the bolts fit through with no trouble at all. Obviously, the smaller hole, the better. So that's what I'm using, is a 1/2 inch bit. So what I did was I drilled that hole 1/2 inch, took one of the supplied bolts that Rago gives you, popped it through, tightened this one back down, so now you can see it's nice and rigid. And now I just wanted to make sure my marks were lining up. So what I'm actually going to do is just double check, and actually my marks are lining up pretty good. So I'm going to take this back off and just continue on. This was just an extra step I'm taking to make sure my holes are lining up good, and I'm not going to run into any problems with them being cockeyed or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take this back off, drill the other 2 holes, and we're good to go. Alright, so you can see we have all 3 holes drilled. We already started the bottom 2. So what you're going to get as far as hardware, you're going to get 6 bolts that look like this, 3 for each side. You're going to get the corresponding locking nuts, and then you're going to get 2 different size washers. You can see this one's a little bit fatter, a little bit bigger when you look at it at the face. The skinnier, the smaller one, is going to go on the head of the bolt. Then we're going to take it, pop it through our slot. Then you're going to take the fatter washer, and that's going to go on the back side back here, which is why you have to take the tail light off. And then we're going to take our nylon locking nut and get that started. So we're going to go ahead and tighten these down. The size you're going to need, these bolts, it's a 5/16 hex head. And then the nuts for the back, to hold these in the back here, they are 3/4 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and get my 3/4 inch socket on the back here. 5/16 in the front. And tighten these down. And then don't forget to tighten your bolt on the bed. Alright, everything is tightened down. That is rock solid. So we're going to go ahead and put the tail light back on. Repeat the passenger side. Same process. I'm not going to show that on camera. It's the exact same thing. And then we'll check and see about those swing cases. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, but I do have an idea that might allow us to keep our swing cases intact. When you're putting these two bolts back into the tail light, make sure you start them with your fingers before you take the ratchet to them. You don't want to cross thread them or strip them or anything like that. So start them with your fingers, then grab your ratchet and snug them down. Well guys, I can't seem to get through an install without it starting to rain and storm on me. It's getting dark again. The drops are starting to fall. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to wrap this video up here, but stay tuned because I'm pretty sure my idea for the swing cases is going to work. So it's gonna have to be a separate video. I'll try to get it done as soon as possible, but here you can see the brackets installed. They are rock solid, very heavy duty. I'm definitely impressed. And honestly, as you saw, it's a pretty easy and straightforward install. So if you have any questions, let me know. Put them down below. We'll get them addressed for you. Thanks for watching as always, and we will see you on the next video.